In this video, I am going to go over how I transformed my chest from this into what it is now. You see, my chest has always been one of my weakest body parts, mainly because A, I have something called pecs excavatum. We have a sunken hole in the chest, which is stopping it from looking full, and B, it's also smaller than most of my other muscle groups ratio-wise. But I was still able to develop a very good upper chest and get a nice aesthetic chest line, even though I don't have Alexis Eubanks' Greek god chest genetics. My name is Mustafa. I'm a qualified PT/fitness coach and have been training for the past 7 years, and I'm going to go over everything I did to transform my upper chest. And quick warning, this video is for intermediate and advanced lifters. If you're a beginner, it's only your first, maybe first and a half year of training, then just continue training as normal. You should be able to increase your PRs, your strength, your muscle size with relative ease. You don't need to go on any tactics or plans or program. Now that we got that out of the way, the first thing that I did was I went on a chest prioritization plan. Now, a prioritization plan is a plan where you take away sets from your other body parts and add them towards one specific body part that you really want to grow. So for me, what I did was I reduced the number of sets I did on my quads and arms, mainly because my arms were getting really big to the point they kind of began to overshadow my physique, as you can tell by these pictures, and added those extra sets to my chest. And the common mistake people do here is that they add sets to that body part they want to focus on. But when you do that without taking away anything from anything else, all you're doing is adding fatigue without adding any extra muscle building stimuli. Because I can imagine you probably already training quite hard, going to failure, pushing training consistently throughout the week. So you already are outputting all the tension you can possibly can. So by simply adding more volume, adding tension, at that point, you're just adding junk volume. You're not actually adding anything that will create any growth. So it's important to take away from those other body parts. What you're doing, those body parts won't get smaller, just dialing them back to a maintenance level so that all your body's adaptive energy and all the muscle tissue it builds going forward goes towards the part you want to focus on, which is the upper chest. And how frequently should you train that body part? The way I go about it, at the beginning, before you get an idea what your baseline of recovery is, train it 3 times a week. A sample frequency would be Monday, rest the body part on Tuesday, train it again on Wednesday, rest it on Thursday, train it again on Friday. I will start off with this just because it gives you an idea of how much tension you can put the muscle under and see how fast it's going to recover. And then, of course, you can adjust it, change it based on your own fitness level and genetics. And recovery here is the key word. You do not want to train it when it's sore. You only want to train it when it's refreshed and ready to go. When you do train it, you want to go as hard as you possibly can. The split that I'm doing is training chest three times a week, and each time I'm doing it at 12 sets, which might seem like a lot of volume, but a lot of studies recently have been showing that 52 sets might actually be the new hot trend of the optimal number of sets for muscle growth. Now, of course, I'm not saying you should go and do 52 sets, but it's shown that high volume can be of huge benefit when you're not going past your fatigue limit and you're just adding junk volume. You're taking away those sets from something else, then adding it to the part you want to grow, so that you're not pushing past your body's boundaries for how much muscle tissue it can build. Now that we spoke about what kind of plan you should follow, how often you should train it, what exercises should you be doing. The way I go about it is I would have 80% of your movements be upper chest movements. So things like incline dumbbell press, incline bench, incline fly, stuff like that. And the best upper chest exercises, in my opinion, are A, incline dumbbell press, because it lets you isolate each pec by itself so that when you're doing it, one muscle does not take over. If you're doing incline bench, I find that my right side begins to take over, and now most of the pressure is going towards a part that's already dominant, creating an imbalance, which makes chest look not very aesthetic, which is the whole thing we're trying to avoid here. So with dumbbell press, you have equal tension on both arms, and you're able to grow at a rate where both arms are lifting the same weight at a time, same tension, same everything. The second best exercise is incline flies. The two chest movements that you focus on when building your upper chest are pressing motions and incline motions. So by doing dumbbell press and incline flies, you now have both an incline flying motion and incline pressing motion. Another really good exercise is incline bench press with partials. A lot of research shows that most of your chest growth happens when your chest is at the stretched position. Roughly, my guess would be 70% of the growth stimuli happens at that period, and the other 30% happens at the top, the contracted position. So by adding partials, which is basically half a rep between the main reps, you're able to double the time you spend on the stretch position meaning you're able to optimize your growth a lot more. And I prefer doing partials with incline bench than dumbbell because I find it much safer, as well as gives you another exercise to do to add to your routine rather than just doing the same thing over and over and over again. And when doing incline bench, whether it be incline dumbbell press or incline barbell press, always have the bench at the lowest incline you can possibly get. Mainly because the more you increase the incline, the more your frontal delt takes over. If you think about it, a shoulder press and a chest press are the exact same exercise, just different angles. So what you want to do, have it at the lowest incline setting your bench has. Some benches have 10 degrees, some 15. Just go with that. Just one notch up is all you gotta do. Just one notch up is all you gotta go. And another really good chest exercise is chest contractions. It's an exercise where you start with the cable, you push your hand sideways right across your chest, squeeze for a second and bring it back out. This is the only exercise that can get the pec fully contracted, and for me it by far generates the best contraction out of any chest exercise. And if you do it at the low cable setting, you will do it at an incline as well to focus more on the upper chest. Now the common argument against this exercise is that it offers no tension at the stretch position, which is where most of the growth happens for your chest. But that's the keyword, where most of the growth happens, not all. Since we established that most of the growth happens at the stretch position, that means it's some growth, in my opinion, a lot of it gets made at the contracted position. Now, my guess, this is just purely from my experience, I would say 70% of the growth happens at the stretch position, and the other 30% of your chest growth happens at the contracted position. Which, the way I see it, then in that case, doesn't make sense to optimize both the stretch part and the contracted part. And to optimize the contracted part, shouldn't we add the best chest exercise that generates the most contraction, while also focusing on the stretch parts by doing incline presses, adding partials to our bench, stuff like that. So I think doing this exercise just really allows you to fill out your chest routine by having a lot of focus on both parts of the movement. Now, the way I would go about this is I would have 80% of your chest movements go towards your upper chest, and the other 20% be things like machine presses, because they're very good for development, as well as pec deck fly, because it gives you a crazy contraction. So you're still developing your lower middle chest, but just adding more of that focus on your upper chest. That's what I did. They're doing this for me. I recommend you do the same. Here is the sample program of what I would recommend. For a number of sets, I would recommend 3x10 for most of it, just because you want to focus on increasing the weight, you want to be able to lift more. The most common mistake I see in intermediate lifters that is stopping them from being advanced is that they kind of have this weight for too long. Like I'm sure you met a guy at the gym who goes, yeah bro, over there, 16 kgs, that's my weight for bicep curls, yeah. And it's been at that weight for God knows how long. So I would, instead of just adding volume, I would add more sets definitely for your chest, because we're going on a prioritization plan. But I would also make sure you consistently increase the weight. That's what I did. For the past 3 weeks, I went from 30 kg for incline dumbbell press to now doing 35, and soon moving on to 36s. Now, if you do have any questions about anything that I said, do leave it down in the comments down below. I'm happy to get back to you. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe. It doesn't cost you a thing, it really helps me out. If you like online coaching or custom programs, my email will be in the description down below. And as usual, thank you for your time and attention. It's a valuable resource and I appreciate you giving it to me. And I'll see you in the next video. Capiche?